Imagine this. It's 8:30 p.m. You've brushed their teeth, you've read the story, you've tucked them into bed, you've kissed their forehead. You've done everything right. You start walking toward the door, and suddenly, "Mommy, one more hug." You give a hug. "Mommy, I'm thirsty." You bring water. "Mommy, I forgot to tell you something." You listen. "Mommy, don't go." And now what should have been a peaceful bedtime has turned into a 45-minute negotiation.
Sound familiar? If you're nodding your head right now, you're far from alone. Most parents think this means their child is stubborn, manipulative, or simply refusing to sleep. But what if I told you that one of the most common bedtime habits loving parents use every night can sometimes make a child more anxious? Not because you're doing anything wrong intentionally, not because you're a bad parent, but because the bedtime routine may be sending a message to your child's brain that says, maybe bedtime isn't safe after all. Today, we're going to uncover that hidden mistake and learn what helps children feel genuinely secure at bedtime.
Let's start with something most adults forget. When you're looking at the world through a young child's eyes, bedtime feels very different than it does to us. Bedtime isn't just bedtime. It's separation. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed that your child can play independently during the day, but the moment bedtime arrives, suddenly they need you for everything? If you've noticed that, you're not imagining it. There's a psychological reason behind it. All day long, your child has access to you. Your voice, your attention, your protection, your presence. Then suddenly, every evening they hear, "Okay, time for bed." To us, that sounds completely normal. To a young child's emotional brain, it can feel like we're about to disconnect. Now, logically, they know you're not disappearing forever, but emotions don't always operate on logic, especially in childhood.
Child psychologists often describe children as borrowing emotional security from their caregivers. When you're nearby, their nervous system feels calm, predictable, regulated. When separation happens, especially at night, that feeling of security can suddenly feel farther away. That's why bedtime struggles are often not about sleep at all. They're about connection. The child isn't necessarily fighting sleep, they're fighting separation. And understanding that changes everything. Because when we see bedtime resistance as a connection issue instead of a behavior problem, our response becomes very different. Now let's talk about the mistake many loving parents accidentally make. Parents become increasingly anxious about getting their child to sleep. The clock says 8:30. You need them asleep. You have work tomorrow. You haven't cleaned the kitchen. You still need to answer emails. You haven't had a single moment to yourself all day. So without realizing it, your energy starts changing. You begin saying things like, "Come on, close your eyes. It's getting late. Why aren't you sleeping yet? Just go to sleep." Seems harmless, right? But here's what happens inside a child's brain. Your child notices something. Mom seems stressed. Dad seems worried. Something important must be happening. And suddenly, sleep becomes a task, a mission, a performance, something they have to accomplish. Researchers who study sleep often talk about sleep performance anxiety. The more pressure we feel to sleep, the harder sleeping becomes. Think about your own life. Have you ever laid in bed thinking, "I have to sleep right now," and then slept worse? Exactly. Children experience the same thing. The difference is they don't have the language to explain it. So instead, they ask for another hug, another story, another drink of water. Not because they're trying to manipulate you, because they're struggling. Now let's look at the second layer.
Imagine your child says, "Don't leave me." You stay another 10 minutes. The next night, "Don't leave me." You stay 15. The next night, you stay 20. What's the lesson the brain learns? Most parents think, my child is learning they're safe. But sometimes the message becomes, I can only feel safe when mom stays. Notice the difference. And it's a very important difference. Now, before anyone misunderstands me, comfort matters. Connection matters. Attachment matters. Children absolutely need those things. The issue isn't comforting a child. The issue is when a child begins believing they cannot cope without that comfort. Take a moment and think about your own bedtime routine. Are there moments when you're feeling rushed, frustrated, desperate for your child to finally fall asleep? No judgment. Every parent has been there. But children are incredibly sensitive to emotional signals. Sometimes they react more to our emotional state than to our actual words. A mother once described bedtime with her 6-year-old daughter. Every night, she stayed beside her until she fell asleep. Every single night. At first, it was 10 minutes, then 20, then 30, then 45. Maybe you've experienced something similar. Maybe it started because your child was sick, or scared, or had a nightmare. Or maybe it simply worked one difficult evening. And then somehow it became the only way bedtime worked. That's how these patterns usually begin. Not through bad parenting, through loving parenting. Eventually, the daughter started waking during the night, and every time she woke up, she panicked. Why? Because the conditions had changed. She fell asleep with mom next to her. Now, mom wasn't there. Imagine falling asleep in your bedroom and waking up in a shopping mall. You'd be confused too. Children expect consistency. The brain loves predictability. The problem wasn't the child. The problem was that she never had the opportunity to learn, I can fall asleep safely even when mom isn't beside me. And that's an incredibly valuable life skill. Not because independence is the goal, because confidence is. So what should parents do instead? The answer may surprise you. Instead of helping your child avoid anxiety, help them experience small amounts of anxiety, safely. Think of it like learning to ride a bicycle. You don't throw your child onto the road and disappear, but you also don't hold the bicycle forever. You support them while they build confidence. The same principle applies to bedtime. A simple approach is validate, reassure, express confidence. First, I know bedtime feels hard sometimes. That's validation. Second, you're safe. That's reassurance. Third, I know you can handle this. I'll check on you in 2 minutes. That's confidence. Notice what we're communicating. We're not dismissing feelings. We're not abandoning the child. We're sending a powerful message. I believe in your ability to cope. And children often learn to see themselves through their parents' eyes. If you act like bedtime is dangerous, they may start believing it's dangerous. If you act like bedtime is manageable, they slowly begin believing that too. Here's the mindset shift. Stop making bedtime about sleep. Start making bedtime about safety. Because ironically, the harder we chase sleep, the further it tends to run away. Instead, ask yourself, does my child feel secure? Do they know what happens next? Is our routine predictable? Am I projecting calmness? Children thrive on predictability. Same order, same routine, same expectations, night after night. When bedtime becomes boringly predictable, the brain relaxes, and relaxed brains sleep. Anxious brains don't. So, tonight, When you close your child's bedroom door, remember this. Bedtime isn't just another part of the day. It's one of the few moments when your child is left alone with their thoughts. No toys, no screens, no distractions. Just them and whatever feelings they're carrying. And that's why bedtime often reveals things that stay hidden during the day. The child who seemed confident all afternoon may suddenly feel uncertain. The child who looked independent may suddenly need extra closeness. Not because something is wrong, but because nighttime has a way of bringing emotions to the surface.
As parents, our job isn't to make every uncomfortable feeling disappear. It's to create an environment where our children gradually learn. I can feel uncomfortable and still be okay. I can miss mom and dad and still be safe. I can face small fears without running from them. Because those lessons don't just help children sleep better. They help them handle friendships, school, challenges, disappointments, and countless moments they'll face long after childhood. Sometimes what looks like a bedtime battle is actually an opportunity to help a child build trust in themselves. And that may be one of the most valuable gifts we can give them.
If this video helped you see bedtime differently, let me know in the comments. What is the biggest bedtime challenge your family faces? I read every comment, and your experiences often inspire future videos. And if you'd like more videos that help you understand how children think, feel, and experience the world through their eyes, consider subscribing to the Childhood Lens. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.